Managing email can feel like a full-time job, but what if I told you you can build an AI agent that can handle it for you? Not just reply to messages, but actually understand context, write professional responses, and free up your time. In this video, I'll show you how to build one step by step using a real example where it negotiates brand deals and sponsorships for content creators. So we're going to be using N8N. So once you get an email, it will activate this trigger, sent to this message model that will label that as a collaboration or not. Then it would go to this logic node, and if it is labeled a collaboration, it'll go up to our agent, who will then dig into our vector database for the correct data to come up with a response, and then use the email tool to send that email and leave it as a draft, and then send us a message summarizing the whole transaction. All right, so let's do a live demo. Let's go ahead and hit test workflow. So our Gmail trigger is activated. It is a collaboration, got sent to our agent. Now I was looking in our database for the answer. Now converting it to a response, sent it as a Gmail, and also summarized everything in Telegram. Now let's read this Telegram summary. I've drafted a response from Doug from Brand regarding their collaboration offer. Their email acknowledges their offer of $2,500 per post, but proposes a negotiation for $3,000 per post based on existing pricing structure. It expresses eagerness to discuss further details if the adjusted price is acceptable. All right, now let's check out the email that it drafted. Alrighty. Hi Doug, thank you for reaching out to your interest in collaborating. I appreciate the offer of $2,500 per post. However, I'd like to discuss potential adjustment. Our current pricing structure is set at $3,000 per post due to the engagement and reach we deliver. If this aligns with your budget, I would be thrilled to discuss the deliverables, timeliness. Please let me know your thought. And for just simple prompting, that's pretty good. And because we're setting this as a draft, we can continue to refine your prompt to make it even better. And I'll show you how to do that. So the first thing we're gonna need is a Gmail trigger. Hit Gmail. Go down to triggers, on message received. Go ahead and link your Gmail account. You can set it to every minute. Event, leave it as message received. And you want to unselect simplify because we want the whole email. If you leave this selected, it will shorten the email and you'll lose context. I just tested the event. So we fetched an email and we look over here. This is the text that went through. And if you're just testing it out and you want to save your data and not have to fetch an email every time, just go ahead and pin your data so it's saved. But you might be wondering, what are we going to do with all the rest of this useless data? We're gonna have to clean it up. So the next node that we're gonna do, just go ahead and click out of that. We're gonna need an edit fields node just to clean it up. The items that we're gonna need a thread ID. Go ahead and drag it in. And we're also gonna need the text of the email. So just scroll down, look for it. Make sure you're in schema. There's HTML, text. This is the one we want. So just go ahead and drag it over. Test up, see how it looks like. All right, there you have it, thread ID and the text of the email. Next, we're going to need an OpenAI node. Open AI, click that. Go down to message model node, link your account, message model node, model. 4.0 mini should be plenty enough. There it is, 4.0 mini. The first thing we're going to set is a system prompt. Hit expression. This is my prompt. And you can continue to refine this as you test this workflow. But basically the prompt is analyze this following email and determine whether it is related as a brand collaboration / sponsorship. If email pertains to the following topic, mark sponsorship as true, otherwise mark as false. And I gave some examples of maybe some keywords that would be in the email, like collaborate, partnership, paid campaigns. And I added a little section here called additional notes. So as you continue to refine your prompt, just add it right here. And then we want to name our node. I'm going to name it collaboration eval. Hit rename. And we also want to add our user prompt. Hit expression. And I'm just going to drag over this text. That's all you're going to do. And then we want the output to be JSON. Test step. There you go. Collaboration, true. The next type of node we're going to need is a logic node to determine whether or not this email is a collaboration email or if it's not one. So we're going to use a switch node for that. First thing we're going to do, we're going to rename it collaboration or not, question mark. And it's not hooked up. Let's hook that up. There we go. Let's open it back up. For the value, we're going to just bring over collaboration. And this is a Boolean because if you look right here, you see that check mark. This is at a string right now because it has an A sign. So you go to Boolean, check mark is true. And we're going to rename it to collaboration. Our second one, same thing, bring it over. Select Boolean is false. Rename output, not a collaboration. So now we see two pathways that the workflow can go into. So I'll go ahead and test step. It was true. So as you can see, one I went through the collaboration pathway. From here, we're going to link our AI agent, hit the plus sign, type in agent, AI agent. For our source of prompt, we're going to go ahead and change it to define below. And we're actually just going to drag in our text, drag this over, Now we're gonna add a system prompt. For my system prompt, we're gonna go ahead and change that to an expression, enlarge it. So I'm just gonna paste the one I already had up. So this is something that you're gonna have to refine as you continue to test out this workflow. But my role is you are an elite negotiator and also empathetic. You respond to brands or marketing teams that want to collaborate. And you wanna give it a step-by-step and let them know which tool to use first. So I went with take an incoming collaboration email, use the collab docs, and I'll show you how to do this later. Tool to first look up relevant media kits pricing and analytics before drafting an email. Create a draft email using the tool create email. After draft the email, provide the concise and short summary of that email content. And these are just some of the negotiating terms that I listed out. And I always like to make sure they end the email with from Kevin, or else just make up a name. The chat model we're going to use for this AI agent would be an OpenAI chat model, and we'll leave it as 4.0 mini. The next tool we're going to need is a vector database. So we're going to add that tool. For this one, we're going to use Pinecone. First thing we're going to do is going to rename this node to collab docs, so our agent can recognize it as that. I'll just name this collab docs as well. For our description, I just put retrieve information about media kit pricing, facts about each social media page, or analytics about the page. All right, so now we're gonna create our Pinecone database. So we created this Google Docs sheet, and this is actual information from my wife's social media business. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna load this into our Pinecone database. So I'm going to head over to my vector database workflow. And if you don't already have a way to load your documents to your Pinecone, I will link a video at the end that shows a step-by-step on how to do that. But the first thing you're gonna do, we're gonna find that document, that Google Doc, and I already have it set here, but once you link your account, just go ahead and find that Google Doc and go ahead and link it. Once you do that, we're gonna have to set up our index. So go to pinecone.io, go ahead and connect it, do your credentials and all that. And then you're gonna create a new index and go ahead and title it. We're gonna name it email agent demo. You wanna keep your embedding consistent for all your vector databases. Embedding 3 SPA should be good enough for most applications. We'll leave it as serverless. Go ahead and create index. Now we're gonna head back to n8n, and looking at our vector database, we're gonna select that index, email agent demo. Go ahead and select that. And we wanna name our Pinecone namespace. We're gonna name it OHB collab docs. Name it whatever you want. We're gonna test this workflow.
A few moments later.
And our vector database should be updated. Now we're back in our email agent workflow. Go ahead and click your Pinecone, and we're gonna choose that same index, email agent demo. And we're gonna name it the same namespace as before, OHB collab docs. Okay. For our embedding, go ahead and use OpenAI's embedding and select text embedding 3 small like we did in Pinecone. We're now gonna add our next tool, which will be a Gmail tool. Click the plus sign, type in Gmail, click that. Link your account, leave it as set automatically. For resource, we're gonna leave it as draft. For the subject, we're gonna let AI define that for us and just put a little description. I just type this is the subject of the email. And for the text, we're gonna do the same thing, let AI define that, add description. This will be the email body. We're gonna add a thread ID. And I executed the previous nodes, so we can go ahead and find that and then just drag and drop. So right here in our edit fields node, go ahead and drag that right there. The next step we're gonna do is add our Telegram. Go ahead and select that. Then we're gonna go down to send a text message. Go ahead and select your Telegram account. If you haven't done so, just go ahead and click create account. Go ahead and select this ask assistant button and it'll walk you through the whole process. So we're gonna leave the operation to send message. So now we need our chat ID. So we can get out of this, make sure you turn this off momentarily and grab this Telegram trigger. And if you want to see which one I got, go to Telegram, hit this trigger. And then the one we're using is on message. So once we're in here, we're gonna test step. Now it's listening to your Telegram. Let's go test step. Now we have our chat ID right here. So go ahead and copy it. We don't need this anymore. Paste that here, turn it on. All right, we're gonna execute the previous nodes. Just let it work. Okay, now we have one item sent, which is our output, and we're just gonna drag that output right here. Test step. We should have our message in our Telegram. So let's check our Telegram. There it is, summary. And I use the same example. This is a summary message. I'll go ahead and pull up that draft. That draft is here. Beautiful. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to learn how to build that RAG agent and set up your vector database, check out this video somewhere over here.